to begin our exploration of your story a little bit, you went from a developer at Microsoft to become the technical advisor over a long career arc at Microsoft. I found this so fascinating because this is often counterintuitive to how many other folks approach their career. And so I think to begin, tell us a little bit more about your career journey. And I think the direct question is, what has made you stay so long at Microsoft? What has drawn you there and kept you around?
Yeah, so I'll start in the middle, go backwards, then go forward. So I joined Microsoft in 1998. Prior to that, I had my own company that I had started with my brother in 1984. So that tells you how old I am. And that was always in tech. I was down in Silicon Valley, so I've always been in tech. And I've been a programming kind of guy since I was 12 years old. You know, self-taught, all that sort of stuff. And in 1998 was kind of the waning of our company, at least that phase of the company. I was like, oh, I had a new baby, and it's like we're making money, but not enough money. These are my earning years. Time to go. And I so happened to have a friend at Microsoft who so happened to send me an email at that time saying, "Hey, why don't you come on up here? We're doing this thing called XML, you know." And I said, "Okay, great." So I went, and at the beginning, I thought, "Ah, I'll just be here for 2 years." And 2 years came, and I thought I would assess, like, how are things going? This was the birth of the .NET frameworks, at Microsoft, the C# programming language. I helped birth the new data stuff that we still use today. And I was building a team, you know. So I thought, 2 more years. And 2 more years. And each time, and I still say that today. I just said that this past year. Should I stick around for 2 more years? And I just reassess every 2 years. I say, what's my deal? Am I getting paid like I think I should? What do I want to do? Can I do it here? Or do I need to leave? Right. And every year, every 2 years that I've done that, the answer's always been, yeah, you're getting paid. Challenge yourself. Try to do something different. Will they allow you to do it? Can you find a way to do it? If the answer is yes, then why do you need to leave? Right. And it might sound kind of like, well, you're just giving up. And it's like, no, I challenge myself. I'm still an entrepreneur. I still do really hard things inside the company. Um, but I get support to do them. So that's why I keep investing, right? Because they keep investing in me. So that's how I've stayed 24 years.
I love the 2-year assessment. A quick follow-up question: Why 2 years? Is that because that felt like the time where you could sort of master the current opportunity and then start to identify the new one?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not a job hopper, so I'm not always looking for the next job outside. Um, when I commit to the thing, I commit to the thing. So, like you said, 2 years is a good amount of time to like really get into the thing, whatever it is. Um, and if it's looking like, no, this isn't gonna be the thing, it's enough time that you said you gave it a good chance, right? If you only committed to every 6 months, you'd just be hopping all the time. And if you commit to like 5 years, you're just stagnating. You're not because things change fast in tech, right? So if you say I'm going to commit to 5 years, it's like, well, the world has completely changed in the last 5 years compared to where you started. So that's not short enough, right? To stay challenging.
I think there's so much to be said for like making that something to be said about commitment, because when Jerry and I first started working together and collaborating with ELC, one of the things in my time, because I had hopped around to a couple different startups at the time, and Jerry and I were talking about a lot of long-term commitment. And so for him, I kind of gave like the verbal commitment of like, this is something that I would love to contribute to for at least 5 years, and the manner in which that will look will probably change, as you say, very quickly every 6 months or so. But that's shifted my mindset a lot in terms of the things that we choose to do as an organization, when we start to think about more of the long-term commitment side of things. So I really admire that. How do you identify the next challenge? Because you've taken on like like
Different
a big
things.
broad scope, like breadth, depth, a lot of different things. How do you identify those next challenges?
Some of it is just evolution. Like when I started as a programmer, a 12-year-old, what did I do? I just hacked together game-ish looking things and like, can I draw sprites on the screen. This is a Commodore PET, so it's not much of a computer. Um, and over time, there's things that I'm personally interested in. Like in the earliest days of my career, I did database stuff because I had this contract with this company called Ingress, which was one of the earliest SQL database companies. And so databases were my thing for quite a number of years. I literally had this model like the whole world is a database. And I still think that's true. So for a long time, it was databases. So things around databases. And then we had some custom work that we did with a client, which was around distributed networking and the earliest days of um, I would say live meeting, all the chat programs that you use today, like WeChat or WhatsApp or, um, well, even these video things that we're doing. Back in the '90s, that had a precursor because networks weren't what they were. So I worked on that kind of stuff and all the collaboration apps. So I would just do things as like this piques my interest. It's cutting edge, and there's not a ton of people doing it, and there's a hard problem. Let me tackle it, right? So there's always a challenge that I would go after. In the middle years there, as I'm transitioning through Microsoft and growing out of like XML and whatnot, I've learned stuff about just creating teams, running teams, building bigger products. And now I come back to some things that are old, some things that are new. So some things that are old are like core networking. I've done things as low level as TLS stacks, which is the networking that supports HTTPS, for example. Um, and I've done graphics libraries, 3D modeling. I did because I'm personally interested in it. I'm currently doing some video editing effects because it's just fun, right? So the themes throughout my years and how I pick the next thing is a combination of what keeps me interested personally as a developer, a programmer. I still like to code. I was coding this morning. And what do I see as my responsibility or challenges going forward? So things like creating an apprenticeship program, to hire more women and minorities. Well, that's not programming, but I'm in such a position that I should be doing things like that because it's transformative for people's lives. So as I've matured, it's like, okay, you got the coding thing, you're not going to do that forever. What else? Why? What's the point of all this? Well, it's to enhance people's lives ultimately. So the thing that's next is typically like, well, okay, let's take engineering to Africa. Let's go work in the Caribbean because, hey, there's people out here and why not? Let's help us build up in Atlanta. Let's start Black owned tech companies. So these things are more a sign of my age, and not just relying on my tech skills. It's like, well, you're in this position now. What can you do that other people cannot do? Right, to help advance things. So that's how I picked the next thing.